Category management is a federal government initiative to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of purchasing across all agencies. Hand in hand with the effort related to what they buy is how they buy. The federal government is trying to streamline their contract vehicles. During this effort, they are identifying contract vehicles that meet certain ideal category management principles. These contract vehicles are called best in class, or BIC. Think of them like honor students at a high school graduation. There might be a lot of students, but only a few are considered best in class. This video is for small businesses, and it's delivered by a small business owner. It'll be part of a series that we run throughout 2019, and we hope that it'll provide you with the knowledge and steps you need to take for success as it relates to category management and, more broadly, government contracting. Watch this video to learn which 41 contract vehicles have risen above thousands of others to become the primary procurement path for the government buyer. Keep in mind that the HUBZone Chamber of Commerce operates from the perspective of winning by the rules of the game. These videos won't discuss the pros and cons of these best-in-class contract vehicles. Our goal is really just to enable you to make informed decisions. Let's go ahead and do our homework to learn about the current group of best-in-class vehicles as of February 2019. My name is Neil McDonnell, and I'm the founder of the HUBZone Chamber of Commerce. It started as an organization dedicated to helping HUBZone certified small businesses. Now we're expanding the mission to include all small businesses and are dedicated to helping small businesses win $200 billion of the small business eligible dollars spent each year. That'll be an $80 billion increase. We've had massive success in 2018, and I know this goal is achievable when all small businesses work together. As you can see, I have many years of experience as a small business owner in the federal government market. It's always been time consuming for me to find information, or as the government likes to say, to do my homework. And I'm committed to making it a lot easier for you by sharing as much as possible for free to aid in your success. Go ahead and visit HUBZoneChamber.org to learn more about that. Most importantly, follow the HUBZone Chamber of Commerce on LinkedIn to show the federal government you're committed to winning business. When we work together, we will be able to see success together. There's another video dedicated to teaching you about category management, but let's do a quick refresher. The federal government put category management in place to basically make their lives easier and to spend better. This is vital when you think about what they manage each year. 3,200 buying offices, 40,000 contracting officers, 160,000 vendors, 3 million contracts, 12 million transactions on those contracts each year. Try and relate to the vast responsibility on the shoulders of government acquisition personnel. If you can relate, then you'll recognize that category management at its core is process improvement. In other words, change. Those of us who embrace change will succeed. On this slide, you can see the 19 groups of category management. The first 10 categories shown here in gray all relate to the common goods and services bought by the federal government each year. These 10 categories represent about 2/3 of the federal spend each year, or roughly $300 billion. I would argue that if you're a small business with less than $10 million in revenue, you should only be focusing on 1 or 2 of these categories. The next 9 categories shown in blue are Department of Defense centric, meaning that they reflect unique purchases within DoD. Follow the chamber on LinkedIn and shoot me a message asking for this slide, and I'll send it to you as a PDF that you can use for internal reference. In my last company, I often felt confused about which contract vehicle to pay attention to. I'd hear other contractors mention this vehicle or that, and frankly, I felt out of the loop. In particular, I was lost as to the next step. We all hear about getting on a GSA schedule, but what do we pursue after that? And really, is the GSA schedule the right path? Well, it turns out that there is a clear next step from my perspective. This slide is showing from a high level all the best-in-class contract vehicles. Small businesses should do one of 3 things for the vehicles related to what you sell. First, become a prime the first chance you get. Second, become a named subcontractor the first chance you get. And third, become an unnamed subcontractor immediately. One way or another, you want to tie yourself to every best-in-class contract vehicle the government uses to buy what you sell. As you can see on this slide, I've organized the BICs by the category they support. There are a few that support multiple categories, but I show that further along in the presentation. Like before, if you'd like a PDF reference sheet based on this slide, follow the HUBZone Chamber LinkedIn company page and then shoot me a quick message asking for that. Keep in mind as we move forward, there are two ways of looking at category management, spend under management, or best in class. From the buyer's perspective, that's the government, or from the seller's perspective, that's us contractors. If you work for the buyer, then you need to learn all the intricacies about category management, SUM, and BIC. But if you work for a seller, then you really only need to know which vehicles the government prefers to buy off of and how you can be on those vehicles. This video is about teaching what small businesses need to know. And you sure don't need to know how the government determines which vehicles are best in class, for example. Let the government be experts at acquisition and you become an expert at selling. Let's take a minute and understand where best-in-class contract vehicles fit into the overall picture. Contract vehicles basically fall within two groups, managed or unmanaged contracts. The government describes unmanaged contract vehicles as Tier 0 vehicles, which is basically the Wild West of government contracts. There are over 400,000 contracts in Tier 0 alone. Recently, I read that the professional services category has 185,000 contracts. And there are over 2,500 MACs, or multiple award contracts, which are IDIQs that are awarded to multiple vendors. In the VA, they have over 1,700 active contract vehicles. You can imagine why the government is trying to streamline how they buy what we sell. So Tier 0 are the unmanaged contracts. The next three tiers are managed, hence the title Spend Under Management, or SUM. It means that these contracts have reached a level of maturity based on defined standards and guiding principles. You really don't need to know anything else beyond that. Tier 1 is the first tier of spend under management contracts, which are typically defined as contract vehicles used within a single agency. Tier 2 is the second tier of spend under management contracts, which have the capability to be used in more than one agency, but not necessarily government-wide or what you would hear called as GWACs. There are some, but again, this is a large pool. Finally, Tier 3 is what we're here to learn about. The contract vehicles in Tier 3 are called best in class, and as I've said before, the ones you absolutely want to be getting on in one way or another. These contracts are all GWACs, meaning any agency can use them. And I'll tell you now, from a contractor's point of view, government contracting officers are leaning more and more towards these best-in-class contract vehicles. There's a growing perception that they need to look towards BICs first, and from my perspective, perception is reality. I don't say this to scare you, I say it to encourage you to get on these contract vehicles in one way or another. You really can't go wrong building a relationship with one of the companies that have won spots on these best-in-class contract vehicles. Take a quick look at this slide. You can see the source at the bottom, but just know that it reflects what's being shared by the government. You can clearly see that the government is currently buying primarily from those Tier 0 contracts. And you can also clearly see that they plan to completely reverse that and buy primarily from Tier 3 or best-in-class contract vehicles. They're not hiding where they're planning on going. Wayne Gretzky, one of the best hockey players ever, used to say, "I skate to where the puck is going to be, not to where it has been." Or said another way, a good hockey player plays where the puck is, and a great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be. You just need to decide if you want to be a good company or a great company. Before I move on to the next slide, would you do me a quick favor if you appreciate what I'm sharing here? In whatever platform you're watching this on, just give it a quick thumbs up as a way of saying thank you to us. That would mean a lot to my team and to me, as well as help others find this video. Most importantly, you'll let me know that this information is valuable to you and you'd frankly like to see a lot more of it. The following slides will provide high-level information about each of the 41 best-in-class contract vehicles, and those slides will follow the same format. In the top left, I'll show the category title. Below that, you'll see the BIC title, and then the contract ceiling amount or expected annual spend. On the right-hand side, I'll show you which agency has the lead for this contract vehicle. The expected period of performance end date or dates when there's option years will be below that. And below those two, I'll show how many companies were awarded a prime contractor position in this vehicle, and of those, how many are small businesses. When I have them, the next box is where I'll list out the key points of contact. Finally, when possible, I'll give you a website URL to get you started doing a deeper dive into this contract vehicle. This work represents about 150 hours, including the video preparation and the research. I tried to provide as much information as I could, and I'm definitely going to update the video in the future with additional data. I'll go through the bulk of these next 41 slides very quickly, but you can just pause whenever you see a vehicle that means the most to you, and you can read the slides at your pace. The information technology category includes cybersecurity products and services, software and hardware products and services, cloud computing services, data center services, and network services. They have a very robust site with a ton of information that you can learn more about this. You can also follow Bill's blog to learn about what he considers noteworthy in this category. As you can see, there are 13 best-in-class contract vehicles supporting the government's IT needs. The 8A STARS 2 contract has a $12 billion ceiling and almost 800 awardees that are either current or recently graduated 8A firms. The four functional areas based on NAICS codes are custom computer programming services, computer systems design services, computer facilities management services, and other computer-related services. The Army's Computer Hardware, Enterprise Software and Solutions contract, or CHES, is their preferred source for COTS IT hardware, software, and services. As you can see here, it's the CHES ADMC-2 or Army Desktop and Mobile Computing that's actually rated best in class. You can see that there are 7 contract holders, but none of them appear to be small. You can see them on the ADMC-2 website. Alliant 2 is brand new, having kicked off in July 2018, so it has a long life before it. It focuses on IT services and IT service-based solutions. If you're in IT, then absolutely you should be trying to work with one of these 55 large primes. Alliant 2 Small Business is similar, obviously, to Alliant 2, except only awarded to small businesses. There are a lot of firms on this contract for you to try and develop a relationship. At the time of this recording in February 2019, this vehicle was still under protest and can't be used, but that's bound to change. Complex Commercial SATCOM Solutions, or CS3, is vital to helping local, state, and the federal government maintain essential and secure communications where no wireline or wireless infrastructure exists. As you can see, there's a good mix of large and small firms for you to reach out to on this contract. Networks and WITS contracts are morphing into the Enterprise Information Solutions contract. EIS, with a 15-year period of performance, is the main component of GSA's telecommunication and infrastructure portfolio. If you're in the telecom or network ops side of the house, definitely track on this contract vehicle. The Federal Strategic Sourcing Initiative wireless contract allows agencies to implement cellular service plans and devices through unified acquisition, improved information management, and a center of excellence that can be shared government-wide. Note that this new mobility solution is on IT Schedule 70, the Enhanced Special Item Number SIN 132-53. GSA's IT 70 is broad, and you want to visit the site to learn a lot more. Basically, though, the only SINs considered best in class at this time are 132-8, 132-32 through 34, and those are for laptops and desktops, term and perpetual software license, and maintenance of software as a service. In my research, most of the firms that have these SINs on their contracts are small businesses and probably open to hearing from you. NASA's Solutions for Enterprise-Wide Procurement, or SOUP, is a clear leader for the government across the board. It focuses on commercial IT products and product-based services. Put this one at the top of your list definitely to get on one way or another. The program manager you see listed here, Joanne, believes in transparency with industry, and she speaks often to make sure that we stay informed and have the best chance at success. Just go ahead and search her name in YouTube to find some recent talks she's done, such as a podcast with Mark Amtower that I just happened to listen to while preparing for this video. NIH's NIAC CS uses two primary NAICS codes, 334111 for electronic computer manufacturing and 541519, which is information technology value-added resellers, to deliver IT commodities deployed using on-premise and managed service models. Go onto their site and look at the 9 categories that federal buyers can choose from and see where you fit into that mix. If you're focused on cloud, for example, you can review their FedRAMP approved providers. Chief Information Officer Solutions and Partners 3, or CIO SP3, is a $20 billion IDIQ for IT solutions and services across 137 labor categories. And it's expiring soon in 2022. In government contracting, 2022 is soon when you consider only 53 companies are on CIO SP3. NIAC sites are well designed. Visit this one and review the 10 task areas to clearly communicate with potential partners what your expertise and value add would be if they bring you onto their team. So we also have CIO SP3 Small Business. It's duplicative of CIO SP3, and again, it's coming up for recompete in 2022. One interesting thing is how many other than small businesses are on this contract. The website shows 38 firms. The reason that it's important is to see if these folks now must subcontract to small businesses, and you want to dig into that a little bit more yourself. When you do your research on CIO SP3 versus this one for smalls, you'll note that the government can save almost 20% in fees when using this contract vehicle, which is almost 30% lower than GSA schedules. You want to check into that because that's part of your sales pitch when you're talking to the government about why they would want to go to this contract vehicle, for example. VETS 2 is like the 8A STARS 2, except that it's set aside exclusively for service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses. Common IT service-based solutions as well as new or emerging IT services can be procured on this vehicle. Typical projects within scope are data management, IT operations and maintenance, security, and software development. GSA's professional services category focuses on a wide range of professional, scientific, and technical services, requiring a high degree of expertise and training. This category includes services that are advisory, problem-solving, and intellectual in nature, often requiring SMEs or subject matter experts. You can see that there's 4 best-in-class contract vehicles under the professional services category here. The Identity Protection Services BPA, or Blanket Purchase Agreement, allows procurement of basic protection services such as credit reports, address verification, credit risk assessments, as well as recovery services related to PII, or Personally Identifiable Information. The government also uses IPS for identity monitoring and protection services. Keep in mind, unlike IDIQs, BPAs don't have a dollar value ceiling. SmartPay 3 is an interesting contract in that only Citibank and US Bank are contract holders. It's the world's largest commercial payment solution, providing charge cards and related payment services to more than 350 federal agencies and organizations. I'm working with a company now, Get Better Metrics, that's pursuing subcontract work on these very large vehicles. I encourage you to do the same. The core discipline on this OASIS contract and the OASIS Small Business one are program management services, management consulting services, logistics services, engineering services, scientific services, and financial services. OASIS has 104 labor categories that are aligned with OMB's 127 standard occupational classifications, as well as 1,000 industry job titles. You can crosswalk your own labor categories to these classifications and job titles. Keep in mind that OASIS and OASIS Small Business are rated best in class here in professional services, as well as in the IT and human capital categories. Do your research to see which subcategories are relevant. OASIS Small Business is basically the same as OASIS, except it's restricted to small businesses. In both OASIS contracts, there are 7 pools that include 28 NAICS codes that you'll want to look into. OASIS should be at the top of your list, along with NASA SOUP. There's a lot of work going to these contracts, and it's only going to increase. When you research a category such as the security and protection category, you really can gain deep insight into how the government procures. For example, that you can't get a contract for this work just for installation. Installation is only procured as part of a product purchase. In here you see on the security and protection category, we have 2 best-in-class vehicles. DHS awarded this Body Armor 3 IDIQ contract to provide soft torso protecting concealed body armor. In addition, it can be used for carry bags, outer carriers, modular pouches, and undergarment. This contract and the ammunition is used for training only. There are only 6 contract holders, so research into your options will be pretty quick and you can find out who to work with. Keep in mind as you do your research that each category is further broken down. For example, here in facilities and construction, you see the 5 subcategories. Those subcategories are further broken down into 24 functional groupings, such as demolition, which is under facility-related services. You can see right here, there's 5 best-in-class contract vehicles for facilities and construction category. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. The Building Maintenance and Operations, or BMO contract, has a long life ahead of itself through to 2026. It's an interesting contract in that it uses a zone approach across the country, figuring small businesses operate more locally. Example services are HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, building management, landscaping, and waste management. This Army Corps of Engineers contract vehicle provides a one-stop shop for demolition-related support. Awarded as a multiple award task order contract, or MATOC, FRP operates through 4 geographical regions, so you'll want to start with one of those that are in your backyard. One of the newest best-in-class contract vehicles, GSA's Global Supply, is designed to provide access to common use items like office products, tools, and cleaning supplies. This BIC crosses 3 categories: facilities and construction, industrial products and services, and office management. GSA has 18 blanket purchase agreements for the janitorial and sanitation vehicle. JanSan is grouped into 4 categories: clean compounds and related dispensers, non-motorized cleaning equipment and trash receptacles, paper products and related dispensers, and finally, motorized floor cleaning equipment and accessories. The Maintenance, Repair, and Operations Supplies contract vehicle helps address almost $1.6 billion a year the federal government spends on MRO supplies. While there are tens of thousands of choices for commonly used products, MRO splits that into 3 categories: hardware, tools and tools cabinets, and then paints, adhesives, and sealants. The Industrial Products and Services category manages goods and services that can include those used in the production of a final product. For example, raw materials and components, instruments, hardware, or tools. This category manager that you see here, like his peers, has set a major initiative to increase the utilization of small businesses. I highly encourage you to reach out and get to know them. You can see that there's 2 contract vehicles here, best-in-class contract vehicles for this category. They're similar to what we saw in facilities and construction. So I provide those slides here as a way for people in this category to just track on them. So those are the JanSan ones and the MRO. This category, office management, strives to provide complete solutions for agencies' office needs. This includes everything needed to help stand up an office and support business operations. That could be flooring, copy paper, or pens, for example. Basically anything you use to manage your own office. The Federal Strategic Sourcing Initiative, FSSI, for Office Supplies Third Generation, OS3, as you can imagine, addresses the need for office supplies. OS3 already includes a wide range of products, brands, and parts numbers. They're organized into 3 channels: general office, paper, toner, and inkjet cartridges. So that's general office, paper, and toner and inkjet cartridges. I already covered GGS in a different category, but I put the slide here so you have it when you're tracking under the office management category. If your core competency is around relocation services, such as for employees or entire offices, or around vehicle buying and leasing, then the transportation and logistics services category is for you. Their site doesn't have as much as others, but does lead to the major applications and tools used by the government for these acquisitions. You can see here that there are 4 best-in-class contract vehicles related to transportation and logistics services category. GSA's Auto Choice is a mandatory source for purchases of new non-tactical vehicles that's renewed annually with original equipment manufacturers, or OEMs, and their suppliers or dealerships. GSA's Fleet provides federal customers end-to-end fleet management services, including acquisition and disposal, maintenance, fuel and loss prevention services, and a fleet management system. This is a BIC definitely worth looking at, as the workload to support the fleet is very diverse, and not only just about the actual vehicles. This is a contract vehicle I plan on doing a lot more research into for my Success Club members. I'll make sure to include any contact information we identify in the next version of this video. DLA Energy Direct Delivery Fuels assists with the worldwide acquisition and management of commercial fuels. This includes fuels to serve air, sea, and land needs. There is a lot of contact information for you to learn more, over 20, but they tend to use titles at DLA instead of an actual person's name. On a side note, if you want to see an organization that isn't showy but positively impacts people's lives from Guam to Puerto Rico, take 2 minutes and watch the video on their website. It made me want to support DLA Energy so that they could support the country. This BIC is for domestic and international express small package delivery services and domestic ground small package delivery services. DoD's Transportation Command, or TRANSCOM, they're a specialized buyer of transportation services at the global level, and they manage this contract. There are just 3 large prime contractors, as you can see, which makes sense, right? But they still have a small business obligation that you might be able to support with your core competencies, and I encourage you to reach out to them. The Travel and Lodging category's website is a good stepping off point to learn more, but also check out what they call the Travel Hallway. It's what Mr. Burke and his team created to serve as a repository for government-wide solutions, program information, tools, and best practices to support agencies. You can see here that we're going to talk about 4 best-in-class contract vehicles related to the travel and lodging category. The City Pair program supports the government's air travel needs. The contract is obviously awarded to airlines, which are large primes: United, American, Delta, Southwest, JetBlue, Hawaiian, Alaska, and Silver Airways. This is another one that we small should be pushing to see how small business obligations are being met. Even though this contract is for travel, the work involved is varied and probably crosses into a lot of our professional services. GSA's Schedule 48, Transportation, Delivery, and Relocation Solutions, supports a variety of goods and services, but for this best-in-class designation, only the Civilian Employee Relocation Home Sale Solution under SINs 653-1 and 653-5 are approved. You'll learn more about that when you visit the website. FedRooms provides hotel rooms for government folks while on official business travel. They also support conferences and meetings. Keep in mind, you absolutely should prioritize all the BICs based on your needs and work on them from the top priority on down. But don't ignore ones like this if there's ways to support a large prime with services not directly related to the rooms, for example, but related to the contract. The rental car program provides access to rentals through a variety of companies. This is another of the best-in-class contract vehicles that you'll not qualify as a prime, perhaps, but definitely would be able to support as a subcontractor. So look into that. There's a great vendor resource section on the Human Capital Category website designed to support both current vendors and those wishing to sell off of a GSA schedule. This category includes administrative services, HR support, temporary staffing, and other HR-related services. As you can see, there's 4 best-in-class contract vehicles on here. In fact, 5 if you look at HCATs being both unrestricted and small business. And there's 5 of them on the human capital category. So let's take a look at those. HCATs, like I mentioned, has both unrestricted and a small business IDIQ. So there's 2 of those. They're identical in scope, and they provide training and development services, human capital strategy services, and organizational performance improvement. This is a vehicle I've heard more and more that contracting officers feel they must use based on agency mandates, and one that should be near the top of your list if you're in this space. It has a long life, as you can see, going out as far as 2027. The USA Learning Program offers a wide range of e-learning products and services, including learning management system, LMS implementations, development services, content development, and executive coaching. This vehicle is also available for the IT software subcategory of the information technology category. I already showed Oasis up above, but know that Oasis is available for human capital category as well as Oasis small business. The medical category is jointly managed by the Department of Defense and the Department of Veterans Affairs. Most of the data on this site is restricted to government access, but there's still some useful information. As we continue this series, we'll identify and share additional data related to the medical category. As you can see, there's 3 best-in-class contract vehicles for the medical category that we'll talk about. HTME consolidates the medical equipment acquisitions, in particular for radiology and imaging systems. This one was elusive for me to learn some of the basics off the internet. As I move forward into additional research for the folks in my Success Club, I'll make sure I come back and update this slide with more data. The HTME website, though, is full of great information for you to get started. There are multiple IDIQ contracts for generic pharmaceuticals supporting the VA and DoD, as well as other health organizations throughout the federal government. As you can see, there's only one prime contractor providing service, and the contract award requires them to comply with subcontracting rules. So you definitely want to pursue that. This is another one of those best-in-class contract vehicles that I don't know a ton about right now, but I'll be digging into further with the VA, and I'll come back and share more of what I learn. This is our last best-in-class for the video. The hearing aid contract managed by the VA provides access to top-quality hearing aids and accessories. My research shows about $25 to $30 million in sales each month. Okay, let's wrap this up. I'm providing this slide and the next one as a reference for you. You can screenshot it or just join the HUBZone chamber to have a copy sent to you. Both the chamber and these reference sheets are free. This first slide is a summary of all the best-in-class contract vehicles as of February 2019. We'll periodically update these sheets and notify you by email if you've joined the HUBZone chamber at hubzonechamber.org. Remember, you should do one of 3 things for these vehicles related to what you sell. First, if you can, become a prime. Second, when possible, become a named subcontractor on these contracts. And third, if this is the only option to you, become an unnamed subcontractor immediately. And that basically means develop a relationship with people who are already on these contracts. One way or another, you want to tie yourself to every best-in-class contract vehicle the government uses to buy what you sell. This next slide is a summary of the categories and subcategories that make up category management. When you get the PDF from us, make sure you share this information with your colleagues. If you've watched this entire video, then I know you found it valuable. Please give it a thumbs up right now as a quick way to say thank you for the content. Next, help this content get more visibility on social media by putting in a comment below and tell me which category you fit most with. For example, travel and lodging or IT. Just write those words in the comments that let us know which category you fit with. Finally, click on share and then share this video into LinkedIn if you have an account. Our goal is to let as many small businesses become aware of this information, and it'll help us build our visibility on the content as well as your own visibility among your connections. Just click on the share button and let the tool do the rest. So the first step in any process is just showing up. Take 3 minutes and do the following 3 things as that first step. Become a member of the HUBZone Chamber of Commerce on our website. This will give you access to a ton of free content we make available to members. It'll also ensure you get an invite to any of our free webinars and meet the expert video events with the government people. Next, I want you to follow the HUBZone Chamber of Commerce on our LinkedIn company page. This is our most visible location besides Twitter that we interact with federal buyers. Just copy the link you see here and it'll take you less than 10 seconds to do that. Finally, subscribe to our YouTube channel. This will ensure that you see any content we post out there, as well as help me get a friendly URL instead of this complex one you see that I have highlighted. This is another one of those steps you can take that will benefit both you and the HUBZone Chamber of Commerce. Use the link you see here and click subscribe when you're on the page. Again, it's just a 10-second task. Best-in-class contract vehicles are the future. I wish you great success as you pursue them. Anyone who wants to reuse or repurpose this material, feel free to do so. I only ask that you properly cite me and the HUBZone Chamber as the source. I share this information freely through the HUBZone Chamber of Commerce to any government contractor wishing to understand category management and best-in-class contract vehicles. Members of my Small Business Success Club, which is only $100 a month, get access to the emails and phone numbers my research digs up, as well as daily access to me to ask questions related to this as they move forward. Members of my Small Business Mastermind group get my personal help planning for and pursuing these contract vehicles. The Mastermind group is only available to firms making more than $2 million since I charge a lot for that. As you can see though, my goal is to provide as much free help as I can. Please make sure you take advantage of all the content we create. I'm Neil McDonnell, reminding you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process.